Hey, everybody, welcome back to another episode of Printing's Alive with me, your host, Warren Werbitt, but you know that already. And today we have a new guest on, as always, another special guest, because how could all my guests not be special? Today we have Matt Wolff from the Ticket Time Machine. What's happening, Matt?
Hey, great to be here. Excited to chat printing and everything else.
Awesome. Well, you came to the right place because we could chat about just about anything. So before we get into anything, give us a little bit lowdown on who is Matt Wolff.
Yeah, so I'm Matt Wolff. I have a company called Ticket Time Machine. We're keeping the printed memory alive with our unique keepsakes, and we'll probably talk a little bit more about that. But I started this company about 5, 6, 7 years ago. I had a long career of crappy jobs. Then I got a couple good jobs, found my way into sales, really got to my own, had some great opportunities, and then decided I need to do this.
Cool. Yeah, so being a business owner is a great thing when you start off in theory. Then you find out that it is not as great as you thought it was until you get to another level where it gets a little better. But I guess the best way to describe business ownership is up and down.
Yeah, it's a hell of a roller coaster for sure. I think I might be in that middle spot. I don't, I think the only really downside for me is financial, right? You don't have a steady paycheck. And so, if you're not doing as well financially as you might have elsewhere, that impacts your life a little bit. But everything else, really, I think it's been great. Obviously, there's, like you said, roller coasters. There's ups and downs, and there's times when you're frustrated. But that's life. I mean, who has any job or career or business that doesn't give some sort of down down cycle?
Yeah, so I would say business ownership is great, and you described it pretty well. And I think anyone who's a business owner really is you want to be in control of yourself, which you could own the business, but you are absolutely not in control of yourself because everyone that works for you is in control of you, basically, right? Because you become like the gatekeeper or the house mom to all the people that work with you, and you always want to make sure that they're always in a good place so that they're doing their thing. But not easy. But let's move away from here for a minute. I want to get into the main business that you have. So it's Ticket Time Machine. When we were chatting before, or the other day, you were talking about like tickets, and then we got into talking about concert tickets. And for me, as a Deadhead and seeing the Dead since '83, the Dead used to have, when you would apply for tickets, that people would create and draw up the envelopes. They would write notes on the inside when they fill out a form. And then, the Dead office would just have a field day picking and choosing. And then they were the last of the Mohicans to do that. And then we had Ticketmaster. You could buy tickets and then get tickets. And then somewhere tickets disappeared.
Yeah, everything went digital, mobile tickets, really for two reasons. The number one reason is the data that they can collect and track where everything's going as you pass it along. And then financially, it saves them some money. It's not a lot of money, but the volume, it adds up. So I would say data one, then number two would be the money. And then COVID hit, and they tried to, with everything, people tried to use COVID as the excuse for why we want to do this, which made no sense. Like, what's the difference if I give you cash or you touch my card? Right? I mean, it doesn't matter. So, but it went away, most of the people. But I think it's kind of, they have to be able to help someone who doesn't have a phone or their phone broke or whatever. So there are still some events, organization, teams that print tickets. There's a few that will not print a ticket no matter what. The New York Yankees are one of them. Madison Square Garden has a sign that says, "Beware of fraudulent tickets, were mobile only." We know someone who had a ticket from last night's game, so that's obviously not true. Other people were in a group of, it's funny that you can get. I actually printed a shirt that sort of making fun of it, like I don't have a smartphone, and then it's "Just kidding, mobile tickets are lame."
Oh my
So,
God, I love that T-shirt.
and I have another one. My phone broke, and then "Just kidding, mobile tickets are lame." So, okay, I understand why we went to mobile ticketing. On the flip side, people like you and me, it's a part of our experience, and it's a keepsake, a souvenir, whatever you want to call it, merchandise that sort of comes with the territory. I think that if you want to go mobile, that's fine. I think you should offer some sort of option for a fan to have a ticket. That could be an old school ticket like this that you have, which costs them less than a quarter. It could be a commemorative ticket, maybe something that's nicer, something like this that's foil. We have animated stuff, but something that shows that they were at that event. And it's catching on. So there's people who are doing commemorative tickets, souvenir tickets. So that I think the ideas have been good. The execution has not been great. Stuff that's not authentic. It doesn't really look like a ticket. It's got a blank back. It doesn't have your seat information on it. Now, sometimes you can't, right? You want to have it in advance. But so we can do better is what I'm trying to say. But it's sort of making a comeback a little bit. They're never going to go back to the ticket who everyone wants. There was a story where the Dodgers, 80-year-old Dodger season ticket holder, they wouldn't print him the ticket, and it went viral. News all on TV, all over the internet. Everyone was like, "What are you doing?" And then they finally printed his tickets.
I think Ticketmaster won't print a ticket for you, will they?
Well, so Ticketmaster is a software company. They're just the platform for people who are selling tickets. It's really up to the event or the venue or the team or the organization if they want to offer a printed ticket. There are probably some events where they'll mail you a ticket. It's not very often. And then other teams and leagues will mail some tickets. Sometimes that's for higher end tickets, for season ticket holders. It just depends on. It's just a little bit different depending on what type of event it is and who the organization is. My wife was in Vegas, went to a show. One show had a crappy wristband. One show had a digital ticket, and one show actually had a printed ticket. It was a nothing ticket, but it had the information on there, so you could say, "Hey, I was here."
So I'm thinking right now, you probably already thought of it because someone always thinks of something that you thought about at some point. But excuse me, maybe all of these platforms or venues or sporting teams should have an option that you get the mobile. And I get the mobile, and the mobile is great until you can't get into your phone, or the power's down, or there's no signal, and you're panicking, you're freaking out, and something doesn't work because the people at the venue are really unhelpful because they're unable to do anything other than to say, I can't let you in. Right. But if maybe when you buy tickets, maybe they had another platform where you can go and you get your mobile ticket, but you could order your own printed ticket, even if they charge you $2.
Yeah, so they do that. Ticketmaster was doing that. They were charging
a
little bit more. They were charging a little bit more, but sometimes it used to be like $4 if you want them to print a ticket and mail it. And that would be $4 if you had one, or $4 if you had 8, and then they would mail it to you. That used to be an option. It's not necessarily an option, but there are events and people are saying, hey, if you want a printed ticket, it's probably going to be commemorative, right? It's not going to be used to get in. Now, there's some theories around whether or not that's an actual ticket or not. There's a whole community called Booger Stubs on Facebook. It's the fanatical ticket collectors. They would tell you if you gave me a ticket that didn't get me in, it's not the ticket. There's no real value to that. Now, that's value in the world of investment and speculation, like a trading card has value. Tickets have value. They sell for a lot of money.
Do they?
Yeah.
Like, they do. So, sorry, what kind of tickets sell for money?
Major League Baseball, like sports debuts.
Really?
Yeah, home runs, milestones, old tickets that are very rare. It sounded kind of like the cards too. Like now, back in the day, trading cards, they were worth money, but now they're too much. Now they're doing these rare, one of ones, and they're harder to get. So, well, now ticketing has reversed that. Tickets are very hard to get. I have a ticket from a game that maybe there's 100 of them out there, 3 of them out there. So tickets like that are rare are worth a lot of money, and people will buy them. They collect them, even if they weren't at the event.
But
I'm a different type of collector.
No, but is that a big market for people buying older tickets?
Huge.
Really? Yeah. Interesting, because I never thought of that or never even crossed my mind. I'm thinking of my buddy who has, 220 Grateful Dead tickets that he's framed sitting on walls.
Yeah,
That
so that might be worth, like, maybe Jerry's last show, right? Or his, if there's a show or something happened. For music, that's kind of what it would be,
like to me,
something
the
that
people that keep the tickets and the music are keeping it for themselves. It's not about a price.
generally,
It's not
yes.
about
And
a
that's,
dollar value, right?
well, that's what you would think. And so, in my opinion, like the ticket business, actually, you can get tickets graded, and that's part of what they're worth. The same way you can get trading cards graded. Now, you'd say, I get a trading card, I should keep it in condition. I get a ticket, I'd put it in my pocket, I'd roll it up. So, in my opinion, it should be worth more if it has some character to it. Whereas if you get a ticket that looks pristine, they grade it a 10, now that's worth a lot more than something that was, you know, how it should be, because you've had it for 30
Yeah, but
years.
that's a scam by the people. Who are these graders? Who made them graders? Who gave them? Do you know what I
Yeah, I
mean?
mean,
It's
that's
like
just
who
another card.
somebody identified a few people, then manufacturers jumped on with them, or or I don't know.
Yeah, I don't disagree with that. I think it's certainly subjective, and there's a lot of BS around.
Bullshit's more like
I have two tickets that I've gotten graded. The first one I got graded was the ticket where it's really, I call it the birth of Ticket Time Machine, because this was the game I was at that gave me the idea to start the company. And
cool.
the other ticket I have was the one I told you that I have. It's maybe like, I don't know, 3 people have it, and it's a Tim Tebow game. It's the promise game that they lost, and no one really has it. And so he happened to autograph. I have him autographed it. Like, I don't care. This is just authenticated, and this is a grade of a 3. But I'm never selling these, so I don't really care what
Well, that's
condition they're
I
in.
think I think most people that I know or have chatted with, not one person has been in it. Tickets, they're not keeping them for value of dollars. They're keeping it for sentimental value. Put it in the
Right,
album with the pictures that they took of us at the
right.
show, or blah blah
So there's
blah.
two segments of the ticket collector, and that's sort of where some of the friction is now, because these people who want the ticket are people who are chasing these milestones and these tickets that are worth a lot of money. Steph Curry's record 3-pointer,
Right.
Otani's 50-50, debuts from all these major league players, and the Cooper Flag debut and Caitlin Clark. So there's people who collect that, and then there's people who, like you and me, who basically collect what we went to and want to have something. I think you could argue that they're probably upsetting the box office by doing that, coming up and saying my phone is broken, right? And look, if you have a ticket there, why not print it? You're not getting flooded with the requests. So, in my opinion, the box office people should just print it. But their hands are kind of tied. They're told. I mean, I've been told everything. Oh, we don't have them. I'm like, I see it right there. Oh, that one's broken. Well, you just printed it for someone else. We're not allowed to print. Someone gave this. I wanted to speak to the manager, and he gave me like a row of empty tickets. I'm like, well, what the hell am I going to do with this? Kentucky Derby had tickets. People had, the person in front of me had it. They wanted. I said, can I get a ticket? They go, well, it's $250. I said, well, are you nuts? So you have a ticket. The ticket's right there. Just print me a ticket.
Wow. Is it because everyone's just lazy? And
So
it's just
I mean, I think the part of it is they don't care, right? I mean, if you come up, you say no, they don't care. There's not going to be a huge amount of backlash to that. And I don't really know. Do they think that the printed ticket is going to come back for admission? It's not. That ship sailed a long time ago. There's no going back to it.
just
So I
don't put
don't
it
really.
just don't put a QR code on the ticket that they're printing.
Yeah, I mean that would. Yeah, I guess you could
You could
do
change.
that.
You could you could make it so that it's not enterable.
They could do whatever they want, but
Right.
the reality is, even inside, they could do it afterwards or after the game. I mean, they could make money. Just say, hey, it's $5. You want to come here to get $5 after the game, or on the inside. They have the stock there. Why not? Right? So some of the games and the venues have seat locators. So it's like a machine. When you scan
Right.
it, it prints up this like print receipt. I actually have a print receipt from the first ever Kraken game. Seattle played it was a road game, their first ever game. at Vegas, and there was a seat locator for it. So I actually have one of those, and so that's better than nothing. Whatever you have that it could be something. I've kept digital, like print at home printouts, because that's what I had, right? But this whole notion of I'm going to collect my digital tickets and put them in a wallet, and I have 4,000 pictures here I don't even look at.
I was going to say I got 300 terabytes of pictures that keep loading up from my phone that I forget to delete that I never go back and look at.
Right. Videos from I mean, I have so many videos that I never do. I think now
I joke with people. I see people taking pictures wherever, fishing, at a concert. I'm like, oh, more pictures you're never going to look at.
It's true. And they haven't, I mean, there have been some okay apps to sort of organize stuff, but nothing great. You know, and I guess I could go and look, but even then, once you have a category, now I got 300 pictures of my cats in there.
Have you tried to, again, I'm just thinking out loud. Well, first I'm thinking in my head first, but what if you think a business could be made if you team up with the Ticketmasters or the different venues that you could print tickets for them and mail them to people so that they're not.
That's what we're doing. I mean, we do that a little bit, and that's what we offer. We offer that for sure.
Okay.
Mostly we're B2B. We're not really too much direct to the customer. I'd like to be. So they're doing that. They are doing that. There's programs that so go back to the Kentucky Derby. I wanted a ticket. They had the ticket there. They wouldn't print it except if I maybe did $250. And they said, well, you can get a souvenir ticket. So like 3 weeks later, I get an email. There's a company. They're a competitor of ours doing a souvenir ticket. It's $25 or $35. It doesn't have any of my seat information on there, which there's no reason for it not to after the fact. And it's blank on the back. So it's basically a glorified bookmark overpriced. So as I say, it's out there. It's just not being done well, I don't think. And that's what we're trying to change. And by the way, I've talked to Churchill Downs many times. I visited them in person to try and talk about, hey, what can we do? I'm probably going to see him at a conference later this month, and still try and be like I'd love to know how that sold. And but even if it sold well, it doesn't mean it was good. And if it didn't sell, maybe it didn't mean it wasn't a good idea. Maybe it was too high priced. Maybe
Well, no one's paying $250 for a paper ticket that they've already, that they're at the.
Well, not $250, but even $35 is a lot. $25 is a lot. But if you're saying it's scarce and that's what it is, I probably would have bought it if it was a decent looking ticket and it could have my information on it. And
it has to have the information. It has to have general admission written, or your section, your seat, and your row.
If I'm buying it after the fact, if I'm buying it at the arena, that makes it tougher. Now we've talked about being able to print on
site. No, because if they go into the system that's connected, they put it in your.
So you're talking about if that happens at the box office. I'm talking about if that happens in, let's say, a team store.
Right. Okay.
Now you have to set up a whole separate thing. Which box office.
Right. My thought is, I go onto Ticketmaster and I get my electronic ticket, and I could hit another button that takes me off their site to someone they're teamed up with, like you, and I can get a real ticket for commemorative, but looks like a real ticket. It's
right, but that would happen. You would get that after the event.
They can mail it to me whenever.
Right, but it's after the event, so they should be able to put whatever information.
Correct.
But there's some people who are at the event, and we've talked about this, who might want something, and so
you could have another version, right?
Yeah, but it wouldn't have necessarily your section, row, and seat, or it could have a blank where you can write that in. I did something like that for the. We had some discussions with the Spurs, and I actually printed for some, because I have some Knicks fans. So we printed something like this.
Oh, that's cool.
As a commemorative ticket, but section, row, seat has the date. That's the date. So you could have that blank where someone could fill it in if they wanted. We could print on site. It's certainly, there's a cost to that, which is much more than just printing a bunch of.
I'm thinking just me being lazy, but liking to have my receipts, my souvenirs. I would buy the ticket online and hit the button and pay an extra $40 to have it mailed to me.
Yeah, they do that. They absolutely do. There's people doing that. That's stuff that we're working on.
Because I haven't seen it, so until talking to you, I wasn't really aware, which also says something else, right? If I want to wear, because I'm going to events all the time.
Yeah, be curious which ones. I guess it depends. Like even Live Nation, who's owned by Ticketmaster, doesn't do it. I've talked to the venues, and
Does
they're
Live
always,
Nation own Ticketmaster, or Ticketmaster owns Live
either way.
Nation, or we
They
don't
own
know?
they own us. That's what they own. I think they own us.
They're like, yeah, they're like the legitimate legalized scalper.
I love the people who try and defend them. I mean, they're making billions of dollars, and they're laying off people, and they're upcharged. Like my amphitheater here, well, they didn't do that, or it's this person. I mean, like trying to blame the gas station for the gas prices.
Right. Well, so in the province of Ontario in Canada, I'm in Canada, but in the province of Ontario passed the law recently. There is no reselling of any ticket above face value. Ticketmaster changed the system so that in Ontario, if someone wants to resell their ticket for whatever reason, Ticketmaster cannot bump up that price. Otherwise, you get fined. And
So
I thought,
there's a
sorry,
website
and then
called
we're,
Cash and Trade.
hang on, called Cat. Yeah, they're out of Vermont. The guy created it there, and there everybody's trade your ticket or same price or something, but it's all good for the people.
So my feeling about that is if there's a sold out show, there's obviously demand for it, and there could be some type of wait list or whatever. But if you wanted to sell your ticket, you should be able to just sell it back to them, and someone can buy it, and everyone's made whole. But there's, if it's not sold out, they don't, I mean, there are shows that are not sold out that I can get for lower on the secondary market. And so there are times when you got, like, I get tickets for less than face value for whatever reason.
Okay, but that's a hit and a miss, and that's a hanging on, and that's a bit of a prayer, because we're all going, all the festival goers are all going to cash or trade to see what's doing, and you don't want to be till the last minute, especially if you're traveling. But and I don't even have a problem with scalpers making some money, because why not? The real problem is when people get on, or the bots get on to these sites, Ticketmaster, etc.
They get all the tickets, yeah.
And they know what's happening, Ticketmaster, right? Like even the dead, there's a call, you got to put a number in to get an email, to get a code the day of.
Yeah, they don't, I think that there's two parts to it. One, they're very hard to stop. There's protocols that you can do that probably could stop them from getting, like, how can they transfer and all that. It's very hard for them to stop, and they're probably indifferent. They don't care as much. Back in the day, we used to have a lottery. You'd line up for, an hour before a ticket would go on sale, and you'd get a number, and then they would pick a number out of a hat, and that's where the sales would start. So it didn't matter if you were first online. You could have been first, but then, the number 14. So they start at 14 and then go. So there's ways around it. Sometimes there was like you have to bring your credit card. I think there's probably going to be some type of technology where we can understand who exactly bought it, and that's really the only one. The Savannah Bananas do a pretty good job of not letting you scalp their tickets, and they created their own ticket system, and they did it pretty. I mean, are there flaws to it? Sure, but it's pretty good. So maybe there should be some type of a limit.
When I last, actually no, whatever. When I went to Colorado to see the Dead 3 nights in a row a couple of years ago, and we had VIP tickets, and those VIP tickets, if you want to sell them to someone, they make it hard, because the person entering has to have an official piece of ID that was used when the VIP package was purchased.
And there's there might be some legalities to that it's hard to do that for every event, and there are circumstances that happen that someone they can't go or whatever last minute, or you're buying it for someone else, right? I buy tickets for my friends because I'm around at 10 a.m. to sit, and they're
put on 4 computers and wait.
Yeah, whatever. So there probably are some things around that, but there's solutions that aren't being.
There's always a solution if somebody wants, right? And
what do you think about John Mayer, by the way? He's great, isn't he?
John Mayer. Oh, you know what? I wasn't a fan of John Mayer on his own before Dead and Company. When he joined Dead and Company, basically changed my whole outlook on him. Most impressed with how he embraced the dead, how he went out and sat down in 3 months and learned a couple hundred songs. And then watching him over the years, he like really became it, because I think what he was freaking out on is on the fan base and how we are appreciative, how we follow, how we, like everything about what they sing, what they do. So, I mean, the Dead's a special following into itself.
Yeah, it's hard to step in. I think Adam Lambert's another one who's done a very
With the
clean.
apps.
You look at people like Sublime has struggled. They had Rome, and I've met Rome. He's good, but I didn't think it was a great match for them together. And now you got the new singer at Linkin Park. We'll see how that goes.
Yeah, it's tough when you bring in.
Not easy,
right?
And you're legend. You're talking about you're replacing a legend.
Like 30 years after, 20 years after,
with a rabid fan base. I feel like they're up there in the the top 10 of crazy fan bases. I'm feeling like they might be getting surpassed by Fish, right? And the Dave Matthews and Pearl Jam. No,
because
I feel like you hear less about the Deadheads than you do.
Well, you might hear if you're around it. No, Fish heads, it's a different crowd, but a lot of it's spurred from the Dead. And even now, when I hear people say, "Oh, the Dead," Billy Strings should be taken over for Bob Weir when he dies. Fortunately, Bob did die. What everyone forgets is these are the founders. These are the people that created the movement. And you know what? When you're playing and you're high on acid at 20 and then you're straight at 80, but you're playing guitar, you're going to be a little slower.
No, I just want to hear it. And that's why I don't care if they. I think if you can carry on and respect the tradition, then you should.
Hey, listen, Bobby passed this summer or January, not the summer. And he said, the journey's not over. It still goes because I'm going into another universe. And his whole thing was, hey, how do we keep the Dead music moving for another 300 years?
Yeah.
And
I think they can do it, by the way.
Well, you know what? My kids are younger. They're into, they've been to 5 Dead shows with me. My son's a little bit of a Fish head, guitar head. It'll continue because it's the vibe. Right, it's all about everything they do. So wow, music. It's
the Dead were. I mean, they were the gold standard for the ticket, and it was.
Well, they were.
If you wanted a ticket, you could get one.
But they were also creative with everything, right? They actually, unlike any other band, they embrace the fan base. They're appreciative of the fan. I mean, the best thing with the Dead is just. You go 3 nights in a row, they're mixing up the songs every night. You go see any other band 3 nights in a row and maybe 1 or 2 songs changes and everything else is the same.
And most of them are like that.
Yeah, and the Dead don't play 3-minute, 27-second radio songs.
Yeah, well, I don't like the longer ones. I'm not as much into the jams as everyone else is, but if you are, then there's, that's your thing.
Some jams are better than others on different days, So that was cool. Okay, let's move on because music we can go. Let's just talk about business and people. People.
Can't live with them, can't live without them.
I'm going to make 3 other jokes, but I figured I'd get killed when I got off of this call, so I won't make them. But yeah, so, in all different businesses you've been in, things you're doing, have you noticed any change in the way people deal with people in business today?
Well, there's always changes. I'll tell you a couple of observations that I have around people that might have shocked me a little bit going in is that I've gotten more help from the people I don't know than the people I do know. And that's a little disappointing, but also encouraging because there are a lot of people out there who want to help. You have to find the people who want to help. And I think you have to recognize the people who don't want to help and kind of, move. I don't know that I used to first push, and now I'm like, look, this person obviously doesn't want to help for whatever reason. So, I'll move on. It was very interesting, the COVID, because that's when I first started, and the amount of calls you would get, and everyone would say yes because they had nothing else to do. And then they got busy again, and some people continued, to be more open and accessible, and some people went back. Yeah. But it's, and then obviously now with AI and virtual assistants, and I mean, people are they're relying on the gatekeepers.
Yeah,
And I don't think the gatekeepers do a great job. I think you're trying to like you don't know what I'm trying to talk to you about, and I get it's their job, but people are just saying no when they don't even know if they should be or not. You should be more open to hearing what other people have to say.
yeah, so I find that people make it a lot harder to get in touch with, and I do it at times. I'm not going to pretend to be so righteous, but what I try to do also is I try to take as many calls as I can. I try to return the emails that I get, even if it's a appreciate your time, but I'm not interested or I have no need. The phone calls, same thing, and this is why I do that, and it's really my own thing, but I'm a big I wasn't always a big believer in the universe. I used to be a closed-minded individual, and then, life hit and went through a bunch of shit, and you learn some new ways and you learn some new things, and then it became about putting it into the universe, and it
Yeah,
became about karma, and it
yeah.
became about, if you do good, then something good will happen somewhere else. And I just told someone a story the other day, and I'm calling people for different things. And a lot of the people that I know, I'm calling, hence what you said about, helping. And I'm calling them because I think I have something for them. I'm saying 10 minutes, you could hang up on me after 10 minutes if you're not happy. And I'm not going to stay on longer than 10 because I know what it is and I set the limit and can't get them on the phone. Even after they've said, call me, right?
I
And
got it.
So there's one individual, and actually two quick stories. So one, I follow up with an email, and then I wait, and I don't want to be that harassing person, but I got a mission, I got things to do, and I had a plan because they offered up something. It wasn't me expecting. And anyways, the last email I sent was kind of went like this: "Hey, how's it going? Hope all is well. You mentioned you had a couple people to connect me with. Possible to give me the names? I'll call them and mention that you called me." Right. And I said, "Oh, by the way, P.S. I don't know if you're a big believer in karma, but if you can get me those names, then it's very possible that someone will get back to you or salespeople at the same time." And whether it had anything to do with that or not, 10 minutes later, I got the email with the people's names. Right.
You should do it because it's the right thing to do. But I think if
Mm,
karma certainly is a good enough
right.
reason.
Then,
Although I do think people get away with a lot of stuff and they don't get, there's no deterrent for bad behavior.
no, but it's you have to live with yourself and feel good. Right. So then the person gives me a name and I call one of those names and introduce myself. I say, so and so suggested, that I give you a call, and I'm calling the owner of the company. That person doesn't phone me back. How does he know what I'm calling about? Maybe the owner of that $40 million company that uses this person gave the name to me because I have an order that I could do with them. And it could be a
Yeah,
potential
it
sale.
amazes me when you get referred to someone who doesn't. That'll never happen with me because I'll have a conversation with you say you got to call them back, otherwise I'm never going to refer anyone to you ever again, even if no matter what it is. So I think part of it is it's now. You hate to say it's a responsibility from them to get an answer, but at least say, hey, look, he should try and help, and then they might not want to get involved, and then that might be why they don't want to do it. But it's then it makes it look like it's your fault. But like
Yeah,
you
I
just
mean,
followed. But someone said, "Hey, I should reach out," so I reached out.
I do, I was doing more consulting and stuff. And I find with the consulting, I just personally want to help people. So I end up helping people without getting paid. I have to find another job because the consulting was more of to help. And honestly, for me, nothing better than helping someone. Nothing better than watching someone get over a hump, turn around and say, thank you.
Yeah,
And I'm going to use this segue into, touch on the mental health. Life is so much pressure these days. The amount of anxiety that people walk around with, I think, is off the charts. I personally have someone for a bunch of years that I speak with on the side, labeled a therapist, life coach, whatever, because I don't even know how to handle everything that comes at me. There's so much content out there. There's so many demands from people out there. There's so much pressure of our own to pay rent, to buy what you need, to keep up sometimes, not necessarily with the Joneses, but just to keep up, to have some of the simple things that make you happy along the way. Right. And I look at some people and I wish the world was a little slower. And my biggest wish is this. I don't watch the news anymore, and I haven't for years, because it all starts off with murder, death, and rape, which is sad. I don't know why. No, I know why they do it, but I think they should band together and start the news off, or any broadcast like that, with positive stories. Why not
there's not enough of them. They don't
there's a million of them. They don't talk because
that'll move the needle. That'll be relevant enough. I think they should end every segment to get people away. Maybe
start and end.
Yeah.
Start with a good story and end with a joke.
I do watch the news. It's probably not great for my mental health. I've had issues with depression. I take medication that does the heavy lifting. I got introduced to someone as I was actually trying to call him to network for the business. And we started talking about the mental health, because he had a mental health issue, which is an incredible story. He's still dealing with it. He started an organization called Same Here, hashtag 5 and 5, saying everyone has some sort of mental health challenge that we're dealing with. And he's a big advocate of, breathing exercises, and
channel
there's
breathing.
A lot of different things outside. Let's not just say, hey, let's take some pills, although
I meditate every day.
So let's talk about it. Let's call it what it is. Mental health is health. It shouldn't be the stigma, right? Getting rid of the stigma. So his name is Eric Kusin. He's a very huge advocate. His company, Same Here, or organization, Same Here, nonprofit, doing great things in the sports world for it. And I think, I posted the other day, it was Mental Health Month. Now it's Men's Mental Health Month, but this should be a year-round conversation. We should be able to have, people should be sharing their stories, and a lot of people do. And I've shared my story, which was, I say it was tame compared to theirs. I never thought I was going to end it, right? I felt paralyzed in what I was doing, and for me it was devastating. But I canceled. I had to postpone a wedding. I got married eventually. But it's once you share it, and I think it doesn't even have to be depressing. Just once you share whatever's going on, whatever you're thinking, it feels so much better. You'll really not have trouble sharing it ever again. And the most important thing is you're going to find you're not unique. There's someone out there who's done exactly what you've done in the same exact situation that you've done. So that should give you some relief in a way. Not that it matters like that other people, but it should give you some relief to know
you're not alone.
Yeah, you're not alone. And a lot of people feel alone, I think, and that's some of the stuff you can't control. There's stuff that you can't control.
I'm a pretty outgoing person. I've got a lot of friends, or I could talk to a lot of people. And when I lost my business in 2019, and then I had 18 months of every 2 months a major catastrophe. My mother died, and then my mother-in-law died, and someone stole my boat and trailer, which was worse than my mother or mother-in-law dying, because it was my biggest place where I went for relief and peace. And then 2 other things. So it was 18 months of hell. I couldn't talk after. I really couldn't talk. And there's COVID lockdown, and my ex-wife, and I hate the word ex because she really is great. Ex sounds so evil, but
some people need.
Yeah, but I understand the ex, but we got to have another name for the good
former.
No, it's not. Former makes it sound like I have another one. Anyways, I haven't found the word yet, or my first wife. But anyway, she recommended a life coach who I started talking with, and man, just talking to a neutral person. So there's no judgment, there's no worry. Yeah. Everything stays in the call. I basically learned to rethink the way I do certain things, redesign some of my habits, or eliminate some habits. And doesn't make me perfect, but it's made me more comfortable with me. It's made me more aware of my surroundings.
Yeah, it's not keeping it all in too.
No, but I could talk about it anywhere at any time, because I know that there's always someone there who's going to appreciate it. I don't care about the ones who don't.
Right.
And I feel better talking about it. And in talking about it, when others talk about it, it's like you have a little huddle after, and it's a little bit of sense of everybody feeling a little better,
And
right?
the thing about what you just explained is that any one of those events could have really wiped you out. And now you have all of them together. It's like some people couldn't deal with one of them. Now I got to deal with, you didn't deal with this, and now this one comes along, and it's like, what do you do?
Well, and the worst part is when one of the things comes along, it triggers something that happened way back
Sure.
whenever, right? Everyone
That's
always
why
laughs.
someone who got molested when they were 4 is still dealing with it when they're an adult. When common sense, or not common sense, you would think, well, what do I care? I was 4, but your body doesn't get rid of it.
It's the subconscious, right? That doesn't.
So
Right.
that's the bottom line is, if you need help, ask for it, go get it. I can't say everything's always going to be okay and sunshiny, but there's people out there who want to help and want to listen. And I think that's the important message, is that you're not alone. Everyone has something. And so let's talk about it. Let's make it easier to talk about it. And let's actually get to the point where mental health is considered health, right? It shouldn't be any different than, you break your arm. That's a big analogy that Eric likes to talk about.
Yeah, and in the world of print, there's 4 great individuals who created this mental health group, Sheets for Brain.
Okay.
And
I like that.
and it's, oh my God, it's Jessica and Chris and David and John. Just easy going through all the last names at this minute, but you should look up the LinkedIn group. They have a group called
Great name.
SHE with a little whatever symbol, TS for brain, and look it up and join. And they have conversations and they bring some specialists on. And I remember one session I was sitting in, and there was a bunch of people, and they go out and it's a closed session, and then some people were talking about how they feel, their condition. And I remember one lady spoke, and after she said how good she felt that there was people around and that she was able to say it because she never said it before, and the applause, the hugs, the virtual hugs that were coming through were really just incredible. And because I know what I know, I get goosebumps knowing that she felt better.
And sometimes people you might want to just join this and listen. You don't have to share, just listen. It might make you feel better, hopefully. But it's something I'm very passionate about. And so, I think obviously everyone's dealing with it. And some people are, we identified someone as crazy. He's homeless. He's on the street. I mean, where does that start? It starts from someone who had an issue, who couldn't deal with it, maybe didn't have the resources, maybe didn't want to get help, and then it just escalates.
Well, and it doesn't matter if if your mental health affects the homeless guy and the guy you think who has everything in the world.
Of course.
Listen,
there was just
Anthony Bourdain. Remember the chef?
Robin Williams. I mean, the list is long. There was a professional players who've just ended things, a college kid, and now you got AI telling you to do it.
Well, so AI, I think you got to be careful with AI because it's a tool. But I was going to say, you said AI telling you to do it. I was going to say that I've sat down with AI sometimes where I found myself with my head spinning, whatever the situation was, maybe call it 11 o'clock at night, and I can't even call a friend because you just can't call it 11 o'clock at night. And I would go on and I would use one of the LLMs and I would just write down what I was thinking and talking, and maybe ask a question on what I could do, what they would suggest. And the information that came back, I thought was really good. And I thought it was good because I have enough, I'll call it training or understanding, because I've done it. So it's not the end all of end all, but it can help you get through the night.
Right. So I'll retract my statement. AI will not tell you to do it. They won't suggest that you do it. But if you've talked about it and said it's an option for you, they very easily could tell you that's the option that you should take. And
right.
And it's happened a few times. I say that just because I was talking today about AI, and there's a lot of great things that it does, but there's a lot of bad things that it does. And that's, people are going to use that for good and for bad and everything. So we're at the I think we're at that point where we need to try and make it, and it's all human done, right? So it's like we're the ones creating this, and there's a lot of bad. So we have to try and get rid of as much of the bad stuff as we can, because another thing I was telling that I heard somewhere else, someone who was selling AI stuff, is that this is the worst it's ever going to be. It's only going to get better from here. And that's true in a lot of senses, but there's also going to be a lot of problems.
Yeah, listen, one thing the internet has done is really brought everything to the surface that existed already. A lot of it we didn't understand or we didn't know about. And then all of a sudden, now that it's rising, it's not that there's so much more of something, it's that we're hearing it sometimes for what it is. And it's really,
Or
it's
it
dangerous.
makes it easier to do bad things. And that's not necessarily the AI, it's internet, whatever it is, it's just so easy to do. And so people have the thought, but they don't have the means or the ideas, and now it just comes so easy. So it's like, all right, let's do it.
Yeah, listen, the phones don't help either, because everyone's heads down at a bus stop, at a restaurant, waiting in line, doing something. I walk in the morning a lot, and like at an early hour, could be 6:30, whatever. And at that hour, it's kind of funny because everyone out there with me that I don't know, it's good morning, man
Yeah.
or woman. Good morning, good morning. I mean, after a few months, you see people, so maybe you have a conversation. But then at 8 o'clock rolls around, and rush hour starts, and it's not, hey, how are you? It's like, fuck you, get out of my way, I'm in a rush.
Yeah.
Right. And then I just think that if we could all breathe, and by the way, you mentioned breathing exercises, channel breathing and all those breathing exercises help. And if you're stressed out at any point during the day, I promise you, if you take a few minutes and just do 6, 7, 8, 10 deep breaths, you will feel a little better after. Most of us stop breathing when things are happening or they get tough, right? But it would be nice if more people could just be kind to each other, opening a door, even holding
It's
it. Thank you.
it's just as much effort to do bad things or be mean or say as it is to do good. And so, some people are kind of, they're good people in nature, or bad. They've been taught whatever it is. It's I think there's not as many good people as there should be. And I don't label everyone who's not good as bad. You don't, just because you're not good doesn't mean you're not bad. You could be sort of somewhere in the middle of there.
I'm going to word it different. I think there's way more good people that don't know how to express themselves or to put a foot forward or say something, so they fall into the unspoken crowd. And
yeah, but that's more, I don't know if it's that they don't know how, it's that they're limited and restricted, maybe by organizations, by money, right? Their job,
100 different things, right?
Yeah, but I don't know. I think I mean, if you start to really think about the good people in your life, I have people that I wouldn't say they're a good person, but they're not a bad person.
Right. Yeah, half full, half empty. How I look
Yeah,
at it, if you're not bad, you're good.
and even the good, even the good people are probably not so nice to some people, and the bad people are probably nice to their friends and whatever, or whatever
Well,
benefits.
I think you have to take out those days that we all have, a few bad days that we probably shouldn't leave, where we shouldn't leave the house, and we go out of the house looking for trouble.
You told me the other day you were having a moment, and I told you
exactly. And you know what? Instead of going and trying to do what we had a plan to do, it was easier to say to you, like, I'm not good today. Could we postpone it?
Yeah,
right?
And it's
and your response was no problem, and hope you're feeling better. Anything I could do to help.
Yeah, but don't. Yeah, but some people don't. They feel like they don't have the option or the flexibility to do that, so then they go through with it. And sometimes maybe you have to or whatever, but we should always be more compassionate about people, as you say, and that it's a cliche, like we never know what's happening with them behind closed doors and all that. But we also can't use that as an excuse for, say, maybe they had a bad day. There's our people who are generally not nice and not doing good things and doing things on purpose, and that's just who they are. It wasn't a bad day, so we can't let people use that excuse.
No, but those people,
don't take it personally.
Those people you see every day doing what they do. So
yeah,
it's not.
I take everything personally. I move on, but like I don't care if everyone does this to other people. I care that you did it to me. I care that you told me you were going to do something you didn't. Now I know about it, so it's on me if I continue to
Right.
rely on that. Like that's the information.
I want to try to accomplish everything I say I'm going to do, whatever it is, big or small. Sometimes if I don't, I don't, but I try not to beat myself up because I know in the bigger picture, more often than not, I'm doing my best to do good.
Right.
Right.
And someone would, if you said you were going to do something to me and I could tell that you did your best to accomplish it, and people will be okay with that. But it's, it's the people who don't, and it's very obvious. And then you're just like, don't take it personally, or don't take it personally. It's just business. I'm like, yeah, I mean, we use these excuses a lot. People use these excuses a lot, but you can tell who, I think you can tell. And the phoniness, I think, shows through. But you have to deal with those people. We go back to what you say with the dealing with people. Like if I didn't deal with assholes, I wouldn't have a business.
Yeah, it's just unfortunate. Just unfortunate. But
On the flip side of that, I'm okay to share my opinion, even if I know that half of the population is going to be against it. If you feel strongly enough about it, I'm not worried about those people who aren't going to want to do business with you.
well, okay, so what you just said just made me think. I'm thinking now about the world that we live in, and it doesn't matter if you're Canada or you're US, where politics have taken things today. Sometimes two people just can't sit and discuss their opinions that are different and say, I appreciate your thought. I don't think that way, but I appreciate it. More often than not today, we could be sitting and I don't agree. Oh, you're a fucking lowlife. What's wrong with you, you dumbass?
Well,
Like,
here's what
it elevates to where you're not talking after for what? Just because you think different?
I have friends who are on the other side of what I believe in, and we can talk about it and we can be friends. Most of the time, it's better off if we don't talk about it now because it just is.
Because
But the thing is, back in the day, I think what we used to talk about is opinions. Now we have people who are taking opinions and saying they're facts. We're taking facts and saying they're not true. That's very hard to have a conversation with that. And so I think that's where the disconnect has come in politics in the US. I'm sure you can figure out which side I'm on by saying that, but that's what I think it is. And, I think there are bad people in politics that are bad. And I think there's some people who are just, they're not bad people, but it's very hard think about trying to do that job where you have to try and do what the majority of people are going to want.
okay, except we're not going to go into politics because that's going to go down a bad road. But all politicians, 90% of politicians are scum because all they want to do is get in. And when they get in, and I don't care what side you're on, you just want to stay in, right? And then once you're in, it doesn't matter. So you say what you say and you play the way you got to play, right?
I think it probably are more than not, but I think I could go on both sides and pick out people that I think that's a good person who genuinely wants to help people.
They're for sure a couple, but
Yeah.
the most part,
But
I look at all these folks with the insider trading. It's okay when you're a politician.
Yeah, well, I mean,
So anyway, we're not going there.
money, but I look at that in the non-politics side of it, and it even goes maybe to the AI thing, is that the people who are the loudest about something are the ones who have the most to gain from it. And the people, right? And so the other people are opposed. It's generally not that they have the most to gain from it. So I kind of want to gear towards the people who are against things and say, well, you have no real reason to be against that. There's no benefit to you to be against that. But everything else these people are saying, whether it was the crypto people or the AI people or whatever it is.
Anyway, politics is
Even outside of politicians. I'm just talking in general.
Right. Oh yeah.
If someone's so loud about something.
No, there's always good. There's always bad. Right. In some places more than others. Some places are cleaner. Some places are less. So for me, I just try to place myself in places that I could minimize the potential anxiety that I might have or the confrontations that I don't need to have. Because at the end of the day, it doesn't do anything other than I'm going to walk away just not feeling good.
Yeah, I always thought that I was a good person, but if I look back, I would say I probably wasn't, and then something clicked to be like, you should want to do better and be good in every day and do helpful and whatever it is to try and be better. Because I have, I'm a selfish person in some ways, and
Are we all?
Well, some are more than others. I definitely, but it's important that you do good just because it's what you should do, but it helps other people and you want people to do good. I live my life by the golden rule very closely. So I don't expect stuff from others if I won't give that myself. And, I try and treat others the way I would want to be treated. And understand sometimes we fail and we fall short of it, but being honest about it and trying not to make, the mistakes.
Hey, if you could own it, if you could apologize.
That's another big problem about the people is they won't own it. They double down on something. And it's the silliest things that it's going to be found out. I mean, that's how you get all these Ponzi schemes. It's just like you just kind of push and push and push.
I'm at a point where I think that we come into the world in diapers. Unfortunately, you leave in diapers. We're only here for a short time. And not long ago, it occurred to me that I'm thinking, we're only here for a short time. Why are more people, me included up until then, not trying to make it a better time?
Yeah.
Right?
Well, on the flip side, you could say we're here for a long time. So it's like there's a lot.
Yeah, 80 years ain't that long on average.
Well, it depends on what you're comparing it to.
Right. Well, not dog years, but.
You could be lucky to live to 80. My dad next week is going to be 25 years. Wow. He's gone. He was low 60s, so, and there's this college football player, 18, 19 years old. So, I think you need to, you want to be able to look back on your life and be happy with what you did and who you are and all the things that you've done whenever that time comes. And so you never know when that time's going to come. So don't just wait until the end to try and do all that stuff.
No, and you want to be, you want to be able to look back, reflect, and go, maybe I was a bit of a prick back then, but look what I did after and what I learned, and I'm really happy. When you go, you should be going with a smile that you did good and that you made a difference. Unless you're a prick, and then it doesn't matter. But
some people just want to stay out of the spotlight and just, exist. That's okay too, I think.
Yeah. I just want to make everybody laugh. I want more people laughing because when more people are laughing, life's a lot lighter.
Yeah.
Right. And it's just, I don't know if I have a favorite, but I actually know what the name Sam Kinison just comes to mind. And it comes to mind because I was trying to say the name yesterday and I couldn't remember it. Right. So
you ever hear the bit he does when he says, I could be a rapper, and then he starts throwing rap songs out there? It's pretty funny.
He died too early.
Oh my God. It's crazy how even to me, Carlin died. He was older, but
Richard Pryor too. They went in there.
Pryor, Mitch Hedberg, a lot of comedians. Greg Giraldo, I think, or maybe it was the other. I keep confusing too.
Well, as I get older, I mix up all the names.
Nick DiPaolo or Greg Giraldo. One of them's alive. One of them overdosed.
Nick DiPaolo's alive, I think.
Yeah. Then it's Giraldo. I listen to a lot of comedy. It's hard not to be happy listening to some of this. If
you're laughing, first of all, so I was playing pickleball last night, and I'm losing, or me and the person I'm playing, I don't know, we're losing 8-0. Last game of the night and whatever, and I hit a shot and I get a point, and then I just start I'm laughing and I'm singing and dancing on the court. And my buddies on the other side are like, what are you laughing for? You're losing. And I just continued. And then all of a sudden, one other person started laughing. And then they're all laughing with me and they don't even know why they're laughing.
Nice.
So it's kind of, and then you go and you're everyone's lighter as opposed to screaming. So
I have a list here. This is all comedy material that eventually I want to do some stand-up.
Okay, we should talk because I got a few friends who tell me that I should be going and doing that. I
won't be able to remember it though. I'll have to be able to read some of it.
No, that's the problem. I can't remember anything, and then I thought I should record it or wear it. And then I went. It was 2 years ago. I went and I signed up for improv, and I did 2 seasons of improv. Oh my God! I went because some friends were saying, "Oh, you're just so funny," and I'm thinking, I think you're wrong. But I used to watch Drew Carey on Whose Line Is It? Or Whose Line Is It Anyways? And I love all those folks. Anyways, went, signed up, 14 people in the class, and what a hoot. And
Yeah.
all people of
Did you do any stand up after that?
no, I got busy, but I want to go back and do 2 over and then finish 3 and 4. It's only like 8 or 10 week courses, but everyone in them is great. Everyone comes from all different walks of life. There's no planning because you go up there and then they throw out some thoughts and ideas and you have to be spontaneous and act and whatever comes out. And then even when you're doing that, some people, depending where they come from, the things they do, you wouldn't even think of because you don't know about it, but because of where they come from or, events in their life, they do things. And then so you're learning, you're laughing, you're with all kinds of people. You're finding out that everyone could be good. Well, that's there. Maybe the bad people don't come. And but just the engagement with all of these strangers does something, because when you go other places after, you're almost not gonna say prepared, but you're almost prepared. You're okay. You're comfortable. A lot of people walk into rooms with strangers and they get all little.
Yeah.
You do some improv. And then I was reading after that, doing improv is great for sales.
Is it?
For confidence building, for talking, for
it's acting, tough to talk in front of people, especially if you're trying to be funny and if it doesn't land. My goal will be to just do an open mic one night and just kind of read some shit and see if people laugh. I don't know.
I'm sure they have.
I think I got some funny stuff, but maybe they might not.
You know what? If one person laughs, you're okay.
Yeah.
Right? Me too. I got a bunch of stuff, and one of them I'm thinking, okay, I could only do a man show because half that stuff, if I repeat it, I'm going to get slaughtered.
Yeah, some of my stuff is geared towards men. Like the opening thing that I ever wrote was something about like how many of you have shit your pants, stuff. The guys are always going to find that funny, farting and shitting, and
the women are just going to look down because they don't want to admit it. I mean, it's right.
Yeah. But I say, if I ever don't laugh at that stuff, then just end it.
Well, that's just real life. That's right. So no, it's all good. Wow. Okay, we're gonna end this one, and we can do it again because we can go on and on. But 3 great topics today. I've never done all of that in one setting, and pretty cool. I hope the people listening made it to the end. I hope you always make it to the end. If you would reach out and tell me, I would know for sure. But hope you liked it. Matt, appreciate your time all the time.
Yeah, great chatting with you. I look forward to hearing some feedback and maybe talking to some people having people reach out. I love to get feedback and hear other people's side of opinions. It's even better if they don't agree with me, right? It's a conversation where everyone keeps agreeing. It doesn't move anything forward.
You don't have to agree with anyone, but you don't have to scream at them either.
Yeah, we don't have to scream. Right? We could have a conversation. And I'm about as accessible a person as you'll ever meet. 99% of every call, email, text, LinkedIn message gets responded to.
Yeah, I'm about the same. I would like to discuss further, though, on concert tickets and how we can maybe do something, or I don't know, but we'll
yeah, I got my concert book. This is my book of concert tickets and things that I have in a
cool.
I got boxes of these and they're all separated, but I got a lot of them.
We should have a ticket conference and just have anyone who loves tickets come.
Well, they have that. They do have some of that stuff. We just got to figure out, like, the people would sell, they'd buy and sell, but it should be more of like a museum. I think it could be a museum idea. And there's someone who's working on a sports museum in New York, and we're going to talk about, having like a ticket
cool.
wing.
Cool. That'd be
or at least awesome. Memorabilia, right? I mean, that's some of the cool. I mean, to see people have like Babe Ruth tickets and Mickey Mantle tickets.
People have everything.
And,
right.
The Queen's performance at Live Aid or Woodstock tickets. I mean, they have it. It's around there somewhere. Now it's become, again, those are expensive. So people have sold them and people have tried to buy them because of the value of it. And, collectors want to have something cool. So if you have 10, 20 grand to spend, you might buy
I'm saying a get together, just people to get together. It's not even about a buy or a sell. It's just
just show what you got.
Yeah, it's like a car swap or a car meet, right?
Lift your hood. people would just post. Maybe we'll try and get that going again.
Yeah, we could look at that. All right, we're going to close it down because we started up again and we got things to do. So again, everybody, thank you so much for listening. If you want to hear or know anything, reach out to me. You want to be a guest, you could reach out to me as well. Matt, final thank you. We will speak and see everybody soon. Until the next time, cheers.
Thank you.